Hi friends, this is Carmen. Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. I am bringing back an oldie but a goodie. I used to do a series of my favorite plants for the current month. I haven't done one in quite a while because I had been in such limbo of where I was at and my collection wasn't really that big anymore. But this month, December, I am bringing it back and I'm going to be sharing with you some of the plants that are doing so wonderful in my collection and that I'm really crushing on this month, okay? So let's get to it, Okay, so you know me, I like to start off with the smallest plants first. So let's start off with probably the most delicate one that I have here and that I'm always very careful in picking up. This is my Burro's tail. Ooh, and I could feel one little leaf fell off. If you have one of these Succulents morganianum Burro's tail, you know that all these little leaves on here are very delicate. You know, I feel sometimes I look at it and one falls off. I have it on my patio on a shelf there, and I really don't move it from there. This is the first time I've brought it in quite a while, but because it is so delicate. But it has grown so much. This originally I received from the Next Gardener. I'll show you a picture here of what it looked like when it first arrived, how little it was, but it has grown so much and it's got a lot of new growth. And even, see that little one right there? That is actually a leaf that fell into the pot and propagated itself in the soil. That's the beauty of this particular plant, that the leaves, you can propagate them and they will grow from these tiny little leaves. But this one is just doing beautifully. It really hasn't slowed down. We've had really a mild fall here in Florida. I mean, the next couple of days is really going to be our first cold weather where we're going to get down overnight into the 30s, and I'm going to have to do something to protect some of my patio plants from that weather, including this one, but it hasn't slowed down in its growth. I had thought about putting it in a hanging macrame, but I'm just so afraid of touching it and knowing how much, you know, I would probably lose as far as leaves when I try to put the macrame on. So for right now, it is in my patio on a shelf where it just kind of dangles off the edge of the shelf. So that is my donkey's tail Sedum morganianum. Beautiful plant. Very carefully put it back. Now, this one here, you know I gotta have a Hoya on my list here. This is my Hoya crinkle-eight, and this one is here in my lounge, right over here. It's under the grow light there, and it is called crinkle-eight. If you look at the leaves, really need to clean this one too. You'll see that it has 8 little divots right on each leaf. So that's like little pea pods almost, but it's doing great. This was, let me see if I can remember where I got this one. It'll come to me, but it has grown some really nice new leaves here. Look how much lighter green these are as opposed to the emerald green of the more mature leaves. It's kind of slowed down a little bit, so I think my Hoyas right now are going through a little bit of dormancy because these were the last 3 leaves it gave off, and that was like, I don't know, 2-3 months ago. So it is going through a little bit of dormancy. I have been giving it the plant juice fertilizer with each watering. I don't really intend to stop doing that while it's in dormancy. The plant juice is made out of worm castings. Worm poop.
Gross.
So it's not a synthetic fertilizer or anything that it's going to harm it. It's very, very organic. You can't get much more organic than that. But so it won't harm it in any way if I continue using that fertilizer through its dormancy. But the crinkle-eight, slow grower, yes, but such a unique plant in the leaves. You know, I love a good leaf with some pattern or some texture, those two things. And these have a wonderful texture. No pattern to them as far as variegation or anything like that, but a wonderful, wonderful texture with the 8 little divots of the crinkle-eight, Hoya crinkle-eight. Okay. Now, my next little one that is also here in my lounge, right on the table here, is my Aglaonema Silver Bay. Now, I got this one just as a little guy for like $4.98. You know, you can definitely get them bigger for more money, but Aglaonemas, one of the things I do love about them is that they grow very quickly. This has grown, I've lost track, about 5 or 6 leaves in the 3 months or so that I've had it. And I always love a Silver Bay. The variegation on it, again, the pattern on the leaf is really unique. These grow very big. I've seen some really big Silver Bays in some of the big box stores that you can go ahead and get that big. But I didn't want to spend the money, and I do enjoy watching a little plant grow into a big guy, you know, that's really nice. But this one's doing great. And the other thing I love about this pot, this terracotta pot, I do love when they get the buildup, calcium buildup or mineral buildup from the watering and just, you know, just a really pretty patina is the word I'm looking for. A really pretty patina to them with that white calcium on them. Isn't that cool? But this Aglaonema Silver Bay hasn't slowed down. These are the latest leaves that it's given off in the last couple of weeks. So this one is not in dormancy. It is still growing. And you know, some of my plants will go into dormancy over the winter and some of them won't. They will continue growing. I think that's true probably of the southern states, that where the weather may continue to be a little bit warm still. You know, it happened to me in Arizona for sure, where some of my plants did go into dormancy and some of them didn't. So this one obviously has not. Okay. Now, the next one is also out on my balcony. And this one is the Portucara afra, or elephant's bush. And this one came from my mom. If you remember the unboxing I did a few months ago where my mom sent me cuttings of some of the plants that I had left back in Phoenix at her house. And this one is actually from her elephant bush that is in front of her house. It was just, let me turn it around. It was just this stump right here. And it's grown all of these other leaves, and it's really in such great shape. I have a little stick here holding it up, but I can tell the growth pattern on it is one that it's going to be draping. Now, if you remember in my balcony, I had one of these on a top shelf in my balcony that was probably, at last I measured, it was like 3 feet long in its trailing. And I'm wanting to do that with this particular one. It's already showing signs of going that route in trailing. These make great hanging plants too. And as I mentioned to you before, you can make a great bonsai tree out of this too. If I wanted to cut off a little piece maybe right here and train repot that, let it root, and train it to be a little bonsai tree. But I don't want to do that. I want to let this one grow and get as long as the other one I had. That one I gave to my son, and it's actually still growing. He has it in his balcony, and it's still growing. So these can get very, very long, very unique plant, and it's called elephant bush because it's from South Africa, and in South Africa, you know, out in the wilderness, it will be growing and elephants will eat on this. The leaves are very juicy. They are not toxic, so there's a lot of water in them, and the elephants will eat them. That's why it's called elephant bush, but the botanical name is Portulacara afra. I really want to find a variegated one. Those are pretty. They don't grow as fast as these. They're not as prolific of a grower as the green one, but I do want to get a variegated one. So that's the next one of these that I'm going to add to my collection. Now, the last one I want to share with you is actually right up here. And although it is in one pot, it is a combination of several types of pothos. So let me take you off of the stand there, off of the tripod, and show you which one it is right behind me. Okay, so I turned the grow light on up here so we can have a good look at this. This is the pot I was telling you about that has 4 different pothos in it, and it has been growing like crazy. It was a tiny little thing with 4 little cuttings in it when I received it from a dear subscriber, and it has been growing so much. I decided early on to leave them all together as opposed to separating them because I love the look of the variety of pothos in one pot. This pot here is also from a dear subscriber, and I love the vintage look of it. So what do we have here? Well, we have this beautiful golden pothos. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So lovely. You can tell why it's called golden pothos. We have the global green. Look at the variation on those leaves. It is one growth, or one stem rather, that's growing. And then we have the neon pothos, brilliant color. There's also a neon pothos above, but this one here is doing great. It's also one leaf, or excuse me, one stem. And then we have the pothos enjoy right in here in the center, and that one's probably the slower growth one. You see that? Kind of show you those there. So that one is a little bit slower growing than the other ones, but they are all doing great. They're right under, and even the I just noticed this, that neon one is getting a little bit of variation there on the leaf. You see that? See that? Isn't that cool? So I love all of these pothos. They are doing wonderfully. I don't anticipate this pot to go into any type of dormancy. They're all growing different rates, but nonetheless, there is definitely a growth pattern to them. And I have them in this double hanger macrame with a neon pothos that I purchased as a little 4-inch pot right above it, which I think adds a really nice look and combination to it. Okay. What's the matter? So Rosie got a haircut a couple of days ago, and I think she's talking to me again. But she was looking so rough. You know, I just had to give her a haircut. And, you know, she doesn't always do well with those. She loses her patience very quickly. But she has her little sweater on because, like I mentioned, we're going to be getting some really cold weather. It's been raining and everything. So our Christmas is going to be very cold. Right, Rosie? Well, thanks so much, friends. Those are my 5 favorite plants for the month of December, and they're doing wonderfully. I'm adding more to my collection, so I'll be able to bring this particular series back to my channel and share with you my favorite plants for that particular month. Okay, so you can look forward to that. If you enjoy this type of video, please do let me know down in the comments below and give the video a like. That truly does help me out so much, and Rosie just loves them. Yeah. And and if you haven't subscribed already, friends, please do subscribe and make sure you hit that little bell there, that notification bell, because that lets you know every time that I put a new video out. And you don't want to miss this little gal. Yeah. So thanks so much, friends. I appreciate your spending a little bit of your time with me, your day with me, and have a Merry Christmas. And I will see you in the next video. Have a blessed day, friends. Bye-bye now.